there were a few important messages coming out of that meeting in my view. First of all, impunity, as you say. We need to document, register what has happened. Obviously, breaches on international law and the international rules of engagement, and the International Criminal Court prosecutor was there to give his testimony. So that was an important initiative by the French presidency. But I would also note that there was actually, although worded in different ways from different countries and different regions, a common message here. The war has to stop. The destruction is having ramifications in Ukraine, of course, but far beyond. So every other issue and crisis we discuss here at the United Nations this week, food prices, energy prices, stability issues, they are related to Ukraine. And also the underlining of this principle of territorial integrity, which is enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations. I heard it from China, I heard it from India, I heard it from African colleagues. And I think that's an important message, because Russia has tried to say, you know, there are different views. And of course, countries word their opinions in different ways. But on this, there has been consistency. The war has to stop. And this kind of aggression on territorial integrity is unacceptable. Minister Lavrov came. He chose not to listen to any of the interventions. He spoke and he left after he had spoken, which is to me is a sign of, in a way, insecurity, because these were calibrated messages from other countries. I think Russia should have listened to it. And as I heard, the foreign minister, who I know from having worked with him 10 years ago, he's a professional diplomat, but basically he listed a number of allegations and ended up with no real defense for why a full-fledged war was the answers to those concerns that he expressed. You know, any conflict, any as brutal as they may be, at one stage end at the table. So the question is how much more destruction is needed to approach that stage. And you know, I put emphasis on what the Ukrainian foreign minister said. You know, no country has wanted this war less than Ukraine. And you know, millions are refugees. I have thousands of them in my country. We try to take care and be, you know, solidarity with them. But the terms and the conditions for negotiating something close to a ceasefire have, of course, to end the hostilities and to point towards ending the war. My message to the Security Council was that the narrative of President Putin, when he is giving a reason for mobilizing and for continuing the war, I believe that narrative is false. It is not true. I mean, it's based on Russia being under threat, Russia being under some kind of attack by the West. I'm Prime Minister in a NATO country. I'm bordering Russia. I'm a European country. I belong to the West, or whatever you may call it. But this is simply not true. And I believe this needs to be said. There is not freedom of press in Russia, but you know, messages from the United Nations may filter through. So that's why I chose to say so. Well, we have supported sanctions alongside the European Union. They are Norwegian decisions, and thus far we have been, you know, more or less in sync with Europe. So we will discuss with them if that's the right response.